I'm Isyander.
And I'm Koda.
And today we're going to be talking about it's Commissars. It's Commissars.
I'm so glad it's not the ecclesiarchy. Frankly, I've kind of had enough of Gauche and his Lolita Express antics.
There is more to the ecclesiarchy than that.
Okay.
Though that is a lot of it.
Okay.
Commissars are much better. They're much more fun. We get to skip out on the sermon today, and we get to talk about. I don't think this is really up for debate. Some of the best books in 40K come out of these guys, and a lot of fan favorites come out of them too. So there's
a clip from, I think it's Dawn of War, where it's just like a commissar doing, the thing commissars do.
Yeah, firing a bolt pistol at something.
Yeah. Usually his own forces.
Yep, with a saber in hand. They do more than that, but they do that too.
They seem to do a lot of that.
We'll cover it a little bit. That is their job, and they are allowed to do that.
Yes.
However, it's the kind of thing where they've become lightly flanderized in a way, where they can do this, and don't get me wrong,
they do.
They do.
Yeah.
There are stories, and you'll see why as we get into this more and more, of whole squads attempting to desert and just bam, 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 all gone.
Yeah.
Because commissars are not, as you will see, they're not incompetent boobs. They are trained, very competent marksmen, and just general combatants too. So there are stories of multiple men turning around and just being gone instantly. They're that good. Yeah, they
just pulling a pull of excuse me, just pulling a full. My brain just naturally, that concussion has still got me. Pulling a full McCree and just it's high noon.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, they can.
I don't remember what he renamed it. I'm sorry for dead naming it, but I can't remember what they renamed him to.
Oh, somebody's shouting it in the comments.
Somebody is shouting. Somebody who played Overwatch longer than I did is shouting it in the comments.
His first name's Jesse.
Yeah.
McCree, right? But what did they change? Did they just change it to his first name?
Cassidy. I think
you're right.
Yeah.
It feels right. But yes.
Though they should have changed his first name because Jesse Cassidy doesn't really roll off the tongue the way Jesse McCree did. But also,
long story involving a fridge.
I hate Blizzard, frankly.
But so Commissars. This is going to be a very, very fun episode. And I've been given the exclusive rights. You good there?
Yeah.
The exclusive rights to feed your bolt pistol if you don't think it's very fun.
I'm not hungry?
No, you don't get a choice. It's going to be really good.
I had a large breakfast.
Doesn't matter. They don't really ask. You will always.
I'm on a new diet.
You will see as you're editing this video too, and those of you watching it, less so those of you listening to it, but you will still be very aware of it. You'll struggle to find art of them not firing at guardsmen.
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen art of them firing at enemies, but usually it's with a pile of very. What's the opposite of gung-ho? Guardsmen behind him?
Yeah. They are usually depicted using their powers against guardsmen. Probably cowardly ones, but, we can't really tell.
Cowardly ones who saw too much, ones who, are, speaking out against whatever your orders are.
Maybe not saw too much, but, often for these guardsmen, the thing about their relationship with a commissar is this is the highest ranking individual they will interact with before they die or wind up on a poster. Those are the two that is why commissars are depicted either firing at guardsmen or looking like Imperial propaganda. There is no middle ground.
Yeah.
And I love...
Because they're doing either of those two... It's not propaganda. They're just doing either of those two things.
I love that about the Kane books, by the way. All of their covers look like propaganda. His musculature changes in each one. His jawline is just chiseled.
Nobody's got him consistent.
He's always surrounded by foes, still smirking.
Yeah.
It is perfect.
You see, Tyranids, I have depicted you as the soy jack and myself as the Chad.
And that is how most commissars are drawn, frankly. And that is... Yeah. That's pretty accurate. Though honestly, it's mostly you'll see them like against chaos and traitors forces. Mm-hmm. Not to say they don't get fielded against bugs. They obviously do. Just art-wise,
I feel
that's
like
what you tend to see
they get
more.
fielded against everybody, but
Actually, literally everybody. Most guardsmen regiments have a commissar.
yeah.
Like most have one attached. Some don't. Some don't.
Is it because they rose up against their commissar, or
You'll see when we get there.
Okay, cool.
What matters is, well, not what matters, but we got to kind of start with when they first showed up so you can understand why they are what they are.
the way they are?
Yeah, because like a lot of imperial, or unlike a lot of imperial institutions, I should say, they are not pre-heresy or post-heresy, because really, most things you interact with in the Imperium either came when the Emperor of Mankind was still around, or after he left.
Yeah.
And like there's that window of terrible time known as the heresy where
Nothing new was being made because it was kind of all focused on hey,
surviving.
stop my kids, please.
Horus is the master of assault, and
We kind of need
Wow,
to make
did
us not get assaulted.
that is my favorite thing about one of my favorite things about the heresy. There are many things I like about them. Horus is constantly talked up as being the master of assault. He is like the war master.
Yeah, the
second
big guy.
only to his father when it comes to planning these massive campaigns. And even when he's addled by chaos, fighting over the controller, he's still putting in work against all of his brothers. Now, is it the best work towards the end there? No, not really. But it still worked.
He also has 4 chaos gods looking directly at him, and it's kind of making up for it.
Yeah, it evens out quite a bit. But yeah, these guys show up right during the heresy because there's a lot of tension in the air.
Someone has to enforce the guardsmen to fight for the right side. The right side.
Yeah, pretty much. Stress is really, really high. Every single one of the Emperor's kids is either preparing to come kill him or actively defending him from being killed or defending themselves from being killed by one of their brothers or trying to kill one of their brothers. So nobody's really relaxed in this time period.
And nobody's sure what's going on, really. Like, whose side am I really on? Whose side are you really on?
And those are the demigods who are like that. They're the Primarchs. For your average Joe, it's a lot more dicey.
It's even more confusing.
Because we have the advantage of seeing the heresy from like 40,000 years away. And
also like a fifth person perspective, so we can kind of just like look down on it.
And it's kind of like a family spat too, so the Primarchs have an innate advantage too, because it's like, I know Horus. He's never been the same since he lost his hair, you know? But for your average Joe, you're kind of making some valid points here, you know? Like, it's not as cut and dry as it is for us. Because you have to remember, the Emperor was very join me or else.
Yeah. And since then, he's reduced my corpse starch rations by like 2 servings, and he's upped the imperial tithe by like 2 people per capita.
I'll be fair, it wasn't terrible under the Emperor, but also, when somebody shows up and starts calling him a tyrant, there's a couple worlds that couldn't disagree with that fully.
Yeah, it's just like
we didn't get
might be right
choice here, and things are running, but like we had a system here.
Yeah. You know? And he kind of just overhauled everything we were doing.
Yeah. So for us, we see Horus, and he basically has like, you know, the silent
villain
movie mustache
that
denotes just tying a woman to train tracks. We can obviously tell he's the villain.
Yeah.
But to your average Joe, it's like,
he's making some valid points.
You know what? From certain angles, he does kind of look like a tyrant. You know? And so it leads to a massive schism, as you can imagine, with not only half of the Emperor's kids, the Primarchs, splitting off,
but half the Imperium.
So many guardsmen. But so many guardsmen.
I'd figure it wasn't just like this was just a Space Marine conflict. Like, this is an everybody conflict.
Oh, everything pretty much split in half pretty aggressively. And towards the final stages, everyone was looking directly at the same spot, all focused in on breaking into the Himalayas. Because my favorite thing about 40K, Nepal is the center of the world.
Yeah.
I like it. They got creative. They didn't pick one of the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Like London.
They didn't go, it was in the middle of London, or it was the middle of the US. No, it's
30,000 years away. It could be anywhere at that point. You know, it could be in Brisbane. I don't know. It could be. Get creative with it. I like it, and I really do dig it.
It could be in the middle of Manchester, and you have a bunch of chavs maintaining the Golden Throne.
Oh, no. That's... Yeah. Everyone is preparing for a massive assault, either to be, assaulted or to assault. Pretty straightforward, We either pave this down and get the guy, or please just get them out of. This is so bad. There's so many of them, and you have to start taking as many precautions as you can, such as, but not limited to, making Dorn design everything. Those walls must be perfect, and there's one guy for this, but that's only the structural stuff. There's a lot of people running around, and we got to make sure that they don't buckle either. The walls are all well and good, but if everyone starts running away or turning traitor...
it's the one time they listened to the salamanders and went, maybe it is the people and not just the territory.
Yeah, so they have to batten down every single hatch, including those inside the minds of their soldiers.
Yeah, the mental hatches.
Hence, when the commissars came up. They always showed up kind of drowning, I'm not going to lie. They've always kind of had the black trench coat thing going.
It's either a morale thing, because it's like, whoa, look, we've got that scary thing on our side, or it's, whoa, I cannot disagree because that scary guy is over there.
Yeah, and this is where their first roots were born. Their job was to raise morale and inspire troops, but also be willing to take command. Whenever they are needed to, or whenever zeal is in short supply, or whenever competency is in short supply, or whenever...
They're the guy just off screen with a gun to my head making me read this advertisement.
You're going to say that and an ad break's going to appear perfectly there. I love it when the omnissiah does that. It's really neat. But yes. They're primarily to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. Cowardice too being a very, very big one. And as you can imagine, they're really good at it, considering that job hasn't changed at all in 10,000 years. You couldn't really question them back then. You still really can't question them today, because if you do, you will... they can get creative. What I will say is a bolt pistol is relatively quick and merciful.
Yeah.
They can use that to send a message, but they can do other things too.
I was scrolling through the NCS animation. I can't remember their full name. Instagram, and I saw one of their more recent ones that was just like,
I know over 200 ways to kill a man.
You could glue an open jar of rats to his face, then blowtorch the other side of the jar, so the rats have to eat their way out through his face.
201.
The commissar could in fact do that to someone, though I suspect the reports would receive the same slack-jawed reaction I'm giving right now.
Is this heresy? I can't say this is heresy, but is this heresy?
Yeah.
This seems like chaotic influence. I can't say for sure, but
yeah.
Did the rat have a cornate tattoo?
We may never know. What we do know is the heresy showed that we are our own worst enemy at times, and really just reinforced the need for a person who can, I suppose, rat jar someone. Because, it's the Imperium. Why not? Why not? In the wake of this, they were seen as a very needed cog, and so they kind of kept all their powers, despite everything else being rewritten around them. And, I won't lie, in the hours after the heresy, loyalty wasn't exactly overflowing. There was a lot of nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah.
And the emperor dying leaves a massive vacuum. Well, emperor dying, half his kids vanishing, and the other half slowly whittling away.
That's a massive vacuum. That is a huge power vacuum.
So they saw actually quite the massive expansion being attached to every single guard regiment across the galaxy and remaining with them for all of their duties. No matter what, be it battlefield cleanup, be it sewage treatment, there is a commissar right behind you at all times, lightly off screen. If you look closely, actually, you'll be able to notice a hidden commissar to ensure we've been doing a good job with this episode. Yeah. And also, to let you know about our fantastic sponsor. You guys.
I see. So there is a commissar off screen with a bolt pistol to our heads, making us read an advertisement.
Slightly on screen. I'm sure you'll make him appear as needed. Yeah, that's right. You guys are my favorite sponsor, and those are our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/Isyander and Koda, who not only get to help keep the show running and all the lights lighting to the point where you almost look like the Astronomicon at times, It's a work in progress.
Not today.
I don't think you will today, but like
I don't think.
that is something that's settled in the editing bay. So
Yeah.
we'll find out later.
I think I have the exposure on the camera correct. I'm looking at it.
We will.
I don't look luminous. I think. It got weird when I dyed my hair because now my hair is like jet black and my face is not.
Yes, a great Raven Guard impression. Fantastic work. But yeah, not only do they get that, but they also get bonus episodes every single week, access to the Discord, community days, and a whole bunch of other perks. I can easily, with chest, say that this is the single best Patreon out there because I did some useless math over the weekend. And I discovered that 85% of the people who were with us from the very beginning are still with us.
Oh, wow.
And you can account for another couple of percentages here and there for people who've like had to leave.
Yeah.
Because like, life happens, but then they like hop back in.
Yeah.
Because like, when you leave Patreon, you can leave a little message. I do look through those and read
I've
them.
literally seen some messages that are just like, hey, I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen it. So it's like, it's a high percentage rate. And so clearly it's great. And we're doing something right. And they've been with us for, I can say, years now of straight gas.
Wacky.
So if you'd like more of that or to join in on the fun, you can head on over to patreon.com/Isyander and Koda. For those of you there, thank you very much. For those of you who are signing up as I speak, thank you as well.
It is wacky to think we've been doing this for
I
almost
can
3
recognize
years.
so many of them. It's so fun to see.
It is also,
it's so fun to see. There are some who change their usernames frequently too, and that's also fun.
Our first ever Patreon subscriber who's just like, before we even announced it, is still there. And
there's a person who beat us to
beat us to the announcement.
And they're still around, yeah. There's a couple actually, it wasn't just one.
Yeah.
They're still around.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
I think that it's a group of like, I think 10 to 17 people who are like,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
It is infinitely cool to me. But yeah,
I just remember seeing the first one because it was like right after we put it public, and it's like, where'd you come from?
Hi, good to see
Hi,
you.
thank you.
But yeah, if you will notice, at this point in Imperial history, we are in a weird middle ground where you have a load of Commissars, but not as many Inquisitors. Or at least they're not as publicly known, and there aren't specific branches for traitors and chaos.
There's nobody to enforce the enforcers.
No, it's just there's a vacuum there, and the Commissars fill that too.
There are no Inquisitors around.
Well, it's
I guess
not like
that's my job now.
the job just hadn't been created yet, and so Commissars kind of were the first to make a strong argument for someone who could do that, because they were running around executing millions of people as traitors. Millions. And like the Imperium looked at that and just went, okay.
This isn't sustainable. You can't keep killing guardsmen like this.
It is sustainable, but like there has to be some form of oversight. We need, I think, at least a master's degree for this. Something more. So, for a little bit
you can't just shoot random guardsmen because he said oink oink at you.
Yeah, well, the Inquisition got the ability to blow up planets, so they're a bit more efficient with it. It's not like the numbers reduced, frankly. There's just now a department for this.
I see.
That's all that's changed. That role would get shuffled off to them, and, we would get the Inquisition today, where they just, like, heretics, fire off a missile. It's not like they're calm. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do they do it frequently? More than you'd think, but not as often as depicted.
I mean, you see it depicted often because when it happens, it's big and bombastic, so of course you're going to see it.
Yeah, but that's how they handle it. Commissars don't need nerve gas. They don't need to detonate continents. They can just do it with their bare hands.
Yeah, they just need this and maybe this.
And probably a saber too, accurately. They're competent with pretty much any weapon a guardsman could use, and some which they can't use, honestly. They have all survived the Schola Progenia, which you did cover, which is very, very...
But it's a brutal schooling.
It's a brutal school and a great YouTube episode. You should watch it. It's very good. And the long and short of it is, there's a reason I didn't say graduated. I said survived.
Yeah. No.
Because that is what you do there.
I caught that.
Yeah.
Wordplay.
The Schola Progenia is how the Imperium deals with the many orphans that are left behind after Tyrannid, Orc, Tau, Chaos, Traitor, Eldar, Imperium. Just bad luck.
It's their own 99% worse version of the Becca Bill.
A little... Close? Close. Because if any of those unfortunate circumstances don't create an orphan, which, I'll be real, any of them could, sometimes the commiserate will see a child with great potential and go, well...
Orphan his parents.
It is literally a crime for the Imperium to be deprived of this, so you're getting a Batman origin story. And that is a real thing that does happen from time to time. What?
Bailiff orphan that child.
Yeah, pretty much. No oversight, and everyone just goes, yeah, okay. Tracks.
Okay, sure, why
Makes
not?
sense. They are very intense, like I told you.
Oh yeah, no, it is in the Imperium.
Yeah.
To say it's an authoritarian government would be a understatement.
Yeah. Whether it is deliberate or accidental, moral of the story is there's an almost infinite number of these children. And there are so many of them that the Imperium can afford to round off a few. Mm-hmm. So they kind of do.
They kind of just...
They've pivoted their education system to be more lethal than it, I would say, needs to be.
I mean, listen.
But look at the stuff they're going up against, and you're like...
We can't grab every child from a death world, but if we put them under conditions similar to a death world, and whoever comes out is like a survivor of that, then like... We'll just get the best of the best.
It's not quite fully a death roll. It's rough. It's very rough.
Yeah.
I mean, any school where a teacher can wield a hammer is just, you're in for it, you know? Like, worst I got was ruler to the knuckles. But, like, a mallet the size of my chest? No, thank you.
It's like SEAL training, but they don't save you when you pass out in the pool.
Yeah, pretty much. Or, you know what? They don't save you when you pass out in the pool. In fact, they record it and show it to the next class.
Mm-hmm. This is how you don't die.
Exactly.
Try it.
Every single person that you will interact with in the Schola, every single wall, every single screen, even your meals somehow, will be fully designed to fill you with nothing but fanatical piety and discipline and loyalty above everything else. They are constantly being observed for any kind of competencies that will kind of guide them in the future. This is, as they're going through this, they're being watched and like notes are being taken. And eventually, you know, when it's time to move on into more specialization, because it's not just commissars who come from here, sisters come from here. It's actually, fun fact, a reason why there are female commissars, but like a lot of them don't go down that path.
They try to make them fanatical and they send them down the Sisters of Battle path.
Sisters just poach them.
I mean,
really aggressively.
I'd imagine you do more as a sister than you would as a commissar.
It depends. The commissary, like the role, is kind of, you can do a lot with it. So whether a single commissar can affect more than a single Sister of Battle is really rough to say. I would say that, like, one for one, a single commissar can definitely do more, but like the highs of Sisters of Battle can get, I think, significantly. I mean,
if you full send into like faith scaling, you can parry demons with just a prayer.
Exactly. So that is kind of not a problem per se, but just something that happens in there where it's like the sisters will see that and go, yoink.
Yeah,
taken.
You're mine now. Sorry.
Sometimes also like they will prove competency in multiple fields, so like they don't get to choose; it's chosen for them.
Yeah. It's kind of like public education usually just like turns you into a jack of all trades. This is like we showed you every option and saw what you were best at and just sent you down the path of doing that.
Yes. The ones who are the most fearless in their faith for the Emperor and are natural leaders are the ones who tend to kind of get shuffled towards training to become a commissar and get ready for the job, where they will continue to get constant tests, both physical and mental, to weed out any kind of weakness, disobedience, or even insufficient zeal.
I can't have you be an enforcer if you are going to fall to chaos the moment you interact with it.
Yes. If they fail on any of these, it could be enough to get them removed from the program outright. So you have to be on it.
By removed from the program, do you mean kicked out or...
What do you think?
I figured.
Exactly.
I figured as much.
On top of all that, they're given really, really advanced combat training, history, tactics, and human psych, because it's all going to be relevant on the job.
Yeah.
They're going to be using a lot of this. By the time they leave, they should be proficient in hand-to-hand combat, marksmanship, and be able to use any single weapon that an infantryman could drop after they die.
As well as probably locking somebody in a locker room, playing loud metal music, and making sure they don't fall asleep in case they need information.
Yeah, exactly. They are terrifying.
Yeah.
They're going to be in the front lines after this, and they're supposed to be leading by example. So you have to be a good example.
Yeah, cool.
See?
Yeah.
They also
This
have,
is
while in there, they also have to be able to smell weakness as it begins to take hold, or any kind of chaos taint. So they have to be very, very, very
That
sharp.
seems kind of heretical. Sniffing chaos taint? Sorry.
You vex me.
Sorry, that's my one for the day.
It's not going to be the one for the day. But yes, that is what they have to get up to. It is... I mean, they don't even have to file a report afterwards, if I'm going to be honest. Nope, you're chaotic. Bam.
Yeah, just bam.
Bam.
It's done.
Done. Yeah, because...
I mean, when you have that many guards, like... It's in kind of an infinite supply of guardsmen.
they certainly treat it
I
like
figure
it is.
you're not working like you're questioning someone's loyalty and having them, dishonorably discharged. You're QC.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, exactly. You are QC, and you're also supposed to be like the because again, this is probably the highest ranking individual guardsman will ever interact with. So to them, you may as well be the emperor of mankind. And he is not allowed to falter in any way, shape, or form, so neither can the commissars. Ever.
I would love to see a commissar flavored as just like the loudest drill sergeant.
Some are like that.
Just like, give me Full Metal Jacket in 40K.
I'm telling you right now, there are several like that, actually.
Okay.
They have to walk around with that mentality every single day, and that's the same mentality they gotta have as they go towards their final, which is where some of those students who are so-so get removed from the program. Because sometimes they won't just be immediately removed, but they'll be kept around and allowed to bond with other students, because the final test will be fire a firearm at him.
Oh, this is that Kingsman test.
Yeah, pretty much. Except the gun it's live.
It's live. Yeah, that's not a dummy round. That's not a blank. It's
yeah.
You're just killing them.
Yep, you must execute that student as a show of loyalty. And if you show any form of hesitation...
Well, now you get to go to the other side of the line and somebody gets to shoot you.
Exactly. Should they pass the test, they'll be almost immediately put in a position where they have authority over human lives. So you kind of want to make sure that they are
of sane mind, at least. Like,
I wouldn't say being willing to fire on your fellow man is of sane mind. I would just say it's being willing to fire on your fellow man.
Well, I mean to say, you're not going to do that just willy-nilly. Like, you still have to be like a good judge of character.
Yes. After this, sometimes they're immediately promoted and they're full-fledged commissars. That's super rare, though. For the most part, they become interns. And so you have like a commissar running around.
Learning on the job. Is it at least a paid internship?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's a shame.
They have like 9 junior commissars running around with them, learning from them. And it is so funny because even though they're junior commissars and they're younger than the seasoned veteran commissar, right? Mm-hmm. They're still drowning, just in a slightly different uniform. I believe it's got like blue stripes on it instead of the typical...
The red.
Yeah, so you can immediately tell who's who.
Who's green and who's not.
And it just looks like,
that's actually kind of sick.
Right. Guardsmen you'd think would hate this, but they actually find it quite endearing and enjoy it, because those commissars in training will fight so much harder than regular people.
Well, because they have something to prove. Like,
they will fight so much harder than regular people.
Listen, I'm just an intern. I'm trying to get the full job right now. I need some on the job experience until they get...
And you could be an intern for life.
Ooh.
Sometimes they never leave.
That sounds like
because
hell.
it is the commissar in charge who gets to decide when you're fully ready. And sometimes it's one mission.
If you're never ready, then...
Sometimes it's one mission. You go out there, you parry like a large bioform with your saber, and it goes...
Nope.
Yep. Commissar
He's got the job.
Immediately. And other times, it's just... You never really get a chance to prove your mettle. Or, it's the Imperium. all kinds of things could jam you up, you know?
I mean, there are certain like military bases in the U.S. and like even like abroad that are like you never see anything happen. You are there to like sweep,
Move dust around.
yeah. You sweep and patrol, and that's pretty much it.
And to be fair, good.
Yeah.
Because if those bases ever see active combat, something's gone super wrong. Something has gone very, very, very wrong if those bases are suddenly working exceptionally hard. So, good.
Such as, I think it was T-154s receiving drones to the face.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go. There we go.
We're doing Ace Combat 7.
Yeah. Yeah. By the end of it, when they are full-fledged commissars, they should leave a full veteran, basically one of the most competent warriors the Imperium can field without augmenting you to hell and back, and they should be able to not only control the flow of battlefields and accurately make good decisions, but also read the people there and be willing to make decisions that could either save or damn the entire front. It's a lot.
It's a big. That's a big job,
and they have to do so without hypocrisy.
Yeah,
because the key thing about the commissars that everybody loves, including myself, is they will give you a borderline suicidal order, and be a good 30 feet in front of you sometimes.
Applying the theory of I'm not willing to tell you to do something I'm not willing to do.
Yeah, there's no hemming, there's no hawing. They're telling you this is what needs to happen. I am there. Where are you?
Listen, I gave you this order for a reason. I know what I'm doing. Follow me in, even if it's to your death.
I'm willing to.
Yeah, I'm right here with you, buddy.
Yeah, that's why they exist in such a weird position within the Imperium, where sometimes, they're front line. Like borderline grunt work is what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But other times you'll also see them like advising fleets, kind of a little bit further away, but still generally
if
able to like slot into command as needed.
Yeah, if you're still like on the fleet, you're like there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And like, do they often just fire a bolt pistol and take someone's job? No.
Can they?
Yes, they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But most commissars just kind of take the approach of like, I'm here to advise. Mm-hmm. I'm here to help you succeed. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do that.
If you win, I win, we all win, and I don't need to shoot you.
Exactly. It is very strong and competent advisement from someone who doesn't have a safety on. Most people listen to it. Mm-hmm. Most people listen to it, honestly, and it does tend to work out pretty well. If you don't, though, and you decide to argue, you will see where a lot of their training has been spent.
Yeah.
If not immediately turning you into a stain against the wall, they're also allowed to open up the Imperial Infantryman's Handbook and use any punishment they see fit in there.
They will literally throw the book at you.
They can indict you for insubordination, incompetence, indecision, anything.
We could literally pick that book off the shelf and just list anything.
Their judgment is good and they are trusted for it. So if they do that, most people go, yeah, okay, that tracks.
That tracks.
Like you said, though, they can also get creative. So even if it's not in the book, boy, howdy. Find a commissar on a bad enough day or do something bad enough to a commissar.
Yeah, they will find a commensurate punishment.
Yeah. They can use any stick that the Imperium has available, and sometimes whittle their own sticks too. So you really want to be careful and listen. However, like I said, carrot. Like, these people do take psych classes right after marksmanship.
Yeah,
they know
you
more
can't
flies
just use
with
a
honey.
stick. Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Could you? Oh boy, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And are they willing to rearrange dentistry with some insane sticks?
They have a very large stick.
Yeah.
Some funny shaped ones too, ones you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, exactly. But for the most part, carrot.
Yeah.
And it works out pretty well.
Because you keep morale up using carrot. It's like,
and most of the time they can accomplish this with a very light touch. Because at the end of the day, they lack what some of the other people who leave the Schola have. Because like, Sisters of Battle almost feel like ethereal at times. You
Yeah.
know? It's a really weird feeling. A lot of the Tempesta Scions feel like you've met like a member of SWAT pretty much, or like a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like, there's going to be a feeling about that. But Commissars feel very human, you know, in a way that most of the advanced warriors that you will see kind of don't. Like, especially Space Marines, dude. Whoa. Transhuman dread is a real thing.
Yeah.
And so they can be actually genuinely likable. They can actually be genuinely charismatic. And it's part of why their books tend to be really, really good, because at the end of the day, they're people. So you can see them. It's really fun because the books let you see someone navigating like political intrigue, but the next page they could shoot this guy and have it done.
Yeah.
But like, they're just like,
They're not going to.
we could just go this way, that way. And there's so much fun to be found in that. Because they're also human, they can, you know, harbor doubts, as you can imagine, and this helps really ground them and keep them relatable to us when they face horrors beyond imagination. It's cute. It's really, really, really endearing, and one of my favorite things about them. They are often also the first set of eyes on something. So whenever, like I said, they're attached to most guardsmen regiments, which means they show up on very many different worlds from time to time.
Yeah.
These are the guys who will often go, that governor likes gold a bit too much. Something weird about that. Or, these guys are loyal, yes, but they really, really, really only care about planets in this sector. Just a note for later.
Yeah.
You know, do they necessarily have to act on everything they see? No,
but
they're competent enough, and they have good enough eyes, and they're trained well enough that they can usually spot the beginnings of like the typical human failings and go, something should be
adjusted here.
Yeah, that is exactly right. While they are observing everything and everyone, they also in turn are being observed, because wherever a commissar goes, they are anywhere from a minor celebrity, just by virtue of their rank alone, to like, in some cases, major celebrities.
Yeah.
Like and this leads to different reactions depending on where they go. On some really, really, really fanatical worlds, they are borderline worshipped. They are seen as exemplars to be held up. And like as you go down the like
I imagine Caiaphas Cain has a couple.
Oh, Caiaphas Cain's like a celebrity.
Yeah, he's got a couple worlds that are like. Damn.
Freak out.
I mean, there's the Emperor, but there's Cain right there.
Hero of the Imperium, right? My favorite is on some worlds, they will be used as examples by like parents. So it's like, keep that up and the commissar will get you. or
that's cute. The boogeyman story.
Right, or the exact opposite, where they're like heroes to kids, like Caiaphas Cain, where it's like, he's on a cereal box. I know he's on a cereal box.
Listen, kiddo.
Kids.
Listen, kiddo. You should keep a stinky friend around with you all the time. Because Caiaphas Cain has a stinky friend, and look where that got him.
Exactly. So
keep
nicer.
a sandwich in your back pocket.
Oh.
Stay strapped.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But it's not just him, too. There are several other commissars I could name who do not look out of place on a box of Wheaties. Like,
this is like around the Olympics when we see like Cheerios sponsored by the Olympics, and they've got like a sprinter on there or something.
Have, like, it used to be Bolt on all the cereal for a while. I've been seeing Biles on the stuff now. It depends. Phelps too had a good cereal run, in my opinion.
I can't think of any more Olympians, frankly.
It takes like it takes technical skill, but also a little bit of like stardom too, because you have to like
you have
break
to, like,
out of your sport.
And that's all respect to like Olympians, like I'm not saying because you can just have talent, but you can have talent and you can have like the drive to do the social media stuff.
Not everyone wants that. Sometimes I just want to show up and swim and leave. You know, I'm here to do a dash. Bye. Goodbye. You know, and I respect that.
I do love. I've been getting into swimming recently, and I'm very bad at it, but that's okay. I will watch videos on YouTube for motivation, and it's very cool to see like Olympians versus 10-year-olds, and they give the Olympians like a full or they give the 10-year-olds a full 30-second head start, and the Olympian still beats them.
Washes them. Yep. That's why I think I've always maintained the Olympics need a regular person. Just like by attending the
For
Olympics.
scale, because they do some insane stuff, and I see people going, that's easy. No, it's not!
No, just for scale, every ticket, when you go to attend a show, there's an event, I should say, not a show.
There's one average guy that's there.
No. Just by buying a ticket, you acknowledge that you are physically fit and capable, should you be randomly called on, to join in this event. That's it. I think that would be great for all of them, except for the like stuff that could kill you if you do it wrong, you know? Because there's a couple of them where I'm like, you make a rube pole vault and they might kill themselves publicly.
I'm not insulting this person. However, I think it was Nigeria that had the guy who was in charge of getting the Olympians to the Olympics had a daughter who wanted to do the 100-meter sprint.
Were they not? Oh, don't tell me he just made his regular daughter.
They were not Olympian material, and that's respect to them. 99.99% of people are not Olympian material.
Like
however, I got my wish for half a second of having the Olympics with the one average person for scale, because
I've never seen that. Like Olympians are the statistical anomaly.
It wasn't the actual Olympics that like she went to, but it was to one of like the qualification like track meets.
That's far.
It's a
less
little bit.
embarrassing.
It's not as embarrassing, but it was still like whoa.
Yeah, they are very. And then you have Speed randomly being very competent at several things, and it's like, dude.
Randomly, he's been an athlete. I mean, since
he's
before he was streaming.
Listen, yes, he's been an athlete. Sure, the gap between him and an Olympian shouldn't be that thin.
Yeah, that close.
Like,
I do remember seeing.
Wild margin.
I do remember seeing a clip of an like him racing an Olympic sprinter.
Yeah.
And like the Olympian going, no, you're cooked. I'm gonna have a full like minute 30 on you.
Nope. I mean, the fact that he's willing to take a Lamborghini to the shins is enough chest for me. Anyway, yeah, that is honestly that's a very accurate way of how they'd be seen on some worlds where it's like these statistical anomalies that are exemplars to us all.
They're on literally all of the cereal boxes.
Exactly. Other worlds, though, that is an entirely alien concept to them, and commissars have to lightly prove themselves, which, I mean, they will, you know. There's worlds that have regained contact with the Imperium, and it's like, you know those isolated islands where we haven't interacted with them at all? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that, and, like, commissars have to prove their competence through, like, a marksmanship test, which, come on. They absolutely nailed it.
I've been doing this since I was a kid. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. Like the javelin toss. Easy. Done.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was 3 years old and they put a 9 in my hand. That's how long I've been doing this.
Yeah. And then there are other worlds where commissars are sweating to keep their jobs.
I assume these are the either most chaotic or doing the least well.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that.
Like Hive Cities where it's mostly undercroft?
I would say like
you're trying to keep this shit together. You're not like, you know, being a pillar of the community, just like
the perfect imperial citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say the poster boy for these is Katachan.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
The death world that defines death worlds, in my opinion. Everything on Katachan is hostile. Everything. The grass on Katachan has roots designed to rip your foundations apart. It sucks.
Who would win?
It's so bad.
One fortified military installation or one frog.
Yeah. The frog, too, that just explodes and melts everything all around it. Mm-hmm. They have fauna that is just dedicated to reminding you there is still a food chain. You're not at the top of it. No. Katachan sucks.
You're like maybe one above the bottom.
It's so grim that everyone who survives there leaves looking like Rambo. Male or female. Like, you just look like an 80s action hero, which I think is really cool, because whenever they're drawn, sometimes you get, like, the Ripley kind of, like, look out of them. Or, alternatively, you get, like, Rambo, Terminator. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the commitment to the 80s action hero.
Yeah, it's
Sarah
really
Connor, too.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell
That's
where the inspiration...
who you were...
I know what you were doing, and I think that's super cool. It's so rough that Space Marines go, I have enough problems. Could I deal with that? Probably. I have enough problems. I'm not going to add to my plate today. I don't need to.
You've brought it up. there is a real contingent of people who don't think Sigourney Weaver is 1, attractive, 2, good at her job.
Really?
Yeah, they're wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never met or seen this discourse, so I will think it's not real and move on.
You live a happy life.
Exactly. That is how I will continue to live my life, actually. For the citizens of Catachan, nothing the cosmos can throw at them is more challenging than a Monday. Or actually, you know what? That's me being harsh. Nothing's more challenging than any day ending in a Y. They have no fear whatsoever. You will have so much fun every time you get to pick art for them because they always look like an 80s action poster.
Yep.
They are ready for everything and face everything fearlessly. So the last thing I need is a guy in a polished suit behind
Telling
them.
me what to do.
Yeah. Now, do they listen to orders? Yes.
I feel like for them, though, it's less order and more suggestion. Like, you got a good head on your shoulders. I would have done that too.
Close. I'm not saying that they kill most of their commissars.
But, if a commissar disappeared into the forest some way and, nobody discovered the bones.
I'm just saying Catachan eats a lot of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes grenades explode early. Sometimes stray rounds hit the commissar square in the head. Weird stuff happens. Which is why most regiments from there don't really have a commissar.
So you
it's just
say
bad luck.
80s action star like Rambo figure, and I immediately think Vietnam because, Rambo, Vietnam. And Vietnam...
They're like intrinsically...
Yeah.
Like,
Vietnam is where we had the most cases of fragging.
Oh, they do that too.
So it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Any commissar that could survive on Catachan, which is me begging for one to survive Catachan, would have to be...
I wouldn't love to, but I'd love to see the version, like the Catachan version of Hamburger Hill.
Oh. Well, I was more thinking like a Catachan commissar. Same exact centerpiece, like the same pressed kind of long coat, really good looking, sleeves ripped clean off, guns on display. Like come on. I can hope and dream. I can hope and dream here.
I'm not gonna lie. The commissars give too much, respectively, commie Soviet energy. For that to work.
Interesting, because that's not the way most people interpret their uniform.
Commissar.
You will see when you're looking at their uniform, it looks a lot more like Hugo Boss decided to design it in the 30s through 40s. Actually, I don't think it was Hugo Boss. I think it was somebody who worked for Hugo Boss for a little bit.
It was somebody who worked for Hugo Boss. It wasn't Hugo Boss. That's a myth. Yeah. For some of them, yes. For some of them, they do look like Soviet era, commandants.
I don't know. Most commissars I see look like...
And also, the commissar was a position in the Soviet military.
I'm not debating you on the position. I'm just saying, a lot of them feel like they could sit there and ask you, what's beneath your floorboards?
Are you harboring enemies of the state?
Yeah. And that's kind of how their uniform tends to look. Especially when you look at older art too.
All it's missing is 2 lightning bolts.
No, well, it depends. It ranges. Sometimes, yes. Other times, it is. There's this one piece of art of Cain where it is the most absurd looking thing. It is this man in the uniform, right?
Oh no, actually, yeah, no. Now that I'm thinking of Cain, you are right. There are some instances where they do give.
But
yeah,
but no. I love this piece of art specifically because it is you can barely tell it's Cain. You can't see his eyes. All you can see is the strongest jawline you've ever seen equipped on a human being.
Here comes the Crimson Chin.
And I kid you not, his muscles are ripping through his clothing. Ripping. I will make sure you include that piece of art.
I love Imperial propaganda.
It's so funny. I love it. It's perfect. But yeah, commissars don't survive Catachan very often.
No.
For them to survive Catachan, they'd have to be competent enough. Not. Let me rephrase that because it's not a competence thing. They have to survive Catachan and its denizens, which is very, very, very hard.
I feel like once again, this is kind of like
I feel like it'd have to be a native of Catachan.
The
Like somebody who grew up in the system would be the best
Catachan
fit.
jungle warriors would let if
It's jungle fighters, actually.
okay, shut up. Leave me alone. They would let a commissar, engage with the wildlife if there was some form of fragging bounty out on them,
Yeah, again, they don't.
and go, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, they don't do anything on purpose. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Whoa, how was I supposed to know that the giant Venus flytrap was right below him?
And even if
I missed it.
And even if one does happen to prove themselves to them, they still probably shouldn't push it. You still probably shouldn't. The need's
This
gonna
is
be
kind of like an inquisitor ordering a space marine around. You can,
legally.
but they also are 1.3 times your height,
Yeah.
and they do have guns that would break your arm that they wield one-handed.
Perfect analogy. Where a commissar could, probably shouldn't.
You should respectfully give them orders
And-
because
Honestly, Catachan jungle fighters are not really known for being indecisive, incompetent, or cowardly. So, frankly, there's a strong argument that they don't even need commissars because everyone who survives it, like every single person,
it's like competent enough to handle themselves.
they're considered a veteran.
Yeah.
I don't think you understood that. I need you to let this sink in.
Just by living through that. No, I get that.
Deep it. Your childhood is so rough, you are considered eligible for full military benefits.
Yeah, you get to age 10 and they tell you to contact the VA.
like the hats we see like in the US.
Your corrosion burns are considered not a part of your
Childhood.
service. Yeah, yeah.
The hats we see here in the US, it's not as common. I don't remember it being as common in Europe, where it details the different wars that you've served in. You
Like
see them
Vietnam veteran,
Yeah, I've always-
Korean veteran. Yeah.
super cool. Really disheartening that I've kind of stopped seeing World War II out in the wild. I remember as a kid I used to see them.
It's been
I remember as a kid I used to see them.
a while. It's
Yeah.
been 80 years.
Yeah. As a kid, I used to see them. I pretty much never do anymore, which is concerning. It's now mostly Vietnam and like forward. So like I see Gulf a lot more actually, which is interesting. But yeah. So you know the hats, the detail.
I think I've seen one Desert Storm.
I did see a Desert Storm. I was like, dang, already?
Damn, are we doing that now? What year is it?
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
Okay. I'll weep if I ever see one like Ukraine on it, because that will immediately wither me away. Yes. Though there's
Considering
no American involvement there, so
no.
none.
None. No volunteers going over there with like chibi Valorant chains attached to the stocks of their guns.
No.
I've totally not seen stickers on ARs.
Well, that's just the kids doing it there, because unfortunately war is always fought by children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's fought, yeah.
Yeah.
It is old men sending young men to die.
Yeah.
But those hats, instead of seeing like those kinds of wars that denote particularly dark periods in human history where
War sucks.
you
Hot take. War bad. Who would have thought?
these terrible time periods where you see boys washed away and they either swim back men or drown,
I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's like SEAL training, but they don't save you from the bottom of the pool.
Those hats, there's a lot of meaning to them,
Yeah.
Just the fact that you made it back in and of itself is quite impressive. And Catachan, you'd get one that says K through 12. Do you see why they are the way they are?
Yeah.
Like, really think about that. Like, nobody who ever goes to a war comes back the same.
You don't have
and Catachan's default K through 12 is a veteran.
You don't have a team of SEAL teams. You don't have SEAL Team 6. You have SEAL Population 6.
Yeah. Maybe it's going to have a K through 12 and your birth year. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you're a veteran from the very beginning. There is a reason they basically don't have a commissar. And honestly, the Imperium's okay with that.
You've said that and it reminded me, this is off topic, but it reminded me, I don't know why I get a lot of like bike talk in my Instagram reels, which is like, I don't bike and frankly don't want to. It was somebody documenting post-accident and going, look at me taking a nap. He's in a hospital bed. Look at me taking a nap like I didn't almost turn a 0 to 100 into a 2004 to 2024.
Yeah. That's a feeling.
Yeah, that's a harrowing reel.
They also, because they're in charge of the guard very frequently, that's where you're going to see commissars, they do also interact with Abhumans frequently. And similar results, pretty much. They don't mind. It doesn't matter.
Are you loyal to the Emperor?
Ogren love them.
Yeah.
Because because they see them as the closest thing that you can get to the Emperor. So they love commissars, man. And commissars, in turn, love Ogren because they will never show cowardice. Ever. Ogren are great. Commissars love Ogren. It's a great working relationship. There's other Abhumans too. You know, Psychers I keep a real close eye on. Ratlings. A real pilfery, which is not something commissars are fond of, but you know, is what it is. They can also be put in charge of the penal legions. Get it out.
I did.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. They can be put in charge of the penal legions, and having a commissar there is particularly rough.
Well, yeah, because I'd imagine they're shooting more bullets backwards than they are forwards.
Yeah, it's your boss, it's your jailer, and your inspiration all at once while you're being sent into a mission that's supposed to kill you and wearing a collar. Like, you know the Suicide Squad collar that explodes inwards?
Yeah. That.
And they are even occasionally given stimulants, too. Like, you are not supposed to survive.
I've seen the arcoflagellants. I'd imagine most of these are that.
No.
No?
That's different. Oh. Different thing. These are just regular convicts that were like, well
that,
if we stack enough of them.
The morals of the kind of civilization that would create the arcoflagellants make sense. Like,
yeah, but that's... I mean, look, in a system that could put one out, yeah, that tracks. But these guys aren't that. Thankfully. It's still not great. But it is what it is. This is one of the few times you'll see a commissar well behind everyone because your job is
I gotta keep track of all of y'all. I gotta make sure which one of y'all's to shoot.
They're not supposed to make it back. So why should a commissar be in the front with them? It just doesn't make sense. Like,
you guys are supposed to die, and I'm not supposed to join you.
You are a resource to be expended. That is why you are here. Yeah. That wall is tall, and we need a ramp.
Get to dying.
Yeah, it's unpleasant, but you know, it's
the Imperium.
Part of the job.
Yeah.
No matter where they are, though, or who they're in charge of, nothing changes the simple fact that, for most people, they are the Imperium. Period. You'll never meet a High Lord. You'll definitely never meet a Primarch. You'll never meet a Custodian. None of the stuff we talk about regularly, most people will ever even dream of seeing.
But you could meet a Commissar.
Oh, you will meet a Commissar.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, you will meet a Commissar. Which is why
I'd imagine the Imperium is... it's a country that does mandatory military service.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, your world could be put into mandatory military service.
Yeah.
See invasions. So that's why commissars really have to be on it. Because for all intents and purposes, as far as your average person's eyes and ears are concerned, they're imperial leadership. You have to be a good example, no matter how you feel about it or how dodgy you may feel about things on the inside. If they see a Chaos Legion rushing forward, doing things I can't even describe here, they cannot show any form of fear or disgust. They have to firm it and issue competent orders. If those orders involve turning around, you also can't say, we're running away. There's way too many of them and there's no reinforcements.
This is a tactical retreat.
This is a tactical retreat. The Emperor's grand design. We shall return to rout the foe. You know? Like,
I mean, this makes sense considering this is the same, like, echelon of person that created I feel like I've just committed heresy by forgetting this specific commissar's name.
Which one?
The one who replaced his arm with an orc arm. Yarrick, yeah.
Yeah. Love Yarrick.
Yeah. The commissar off screen is going to shoot me after this.
Commissars are so good at their jobs. Even other, orcs have seen this and recognize this and know it's a threat.
Yeah.
Like, they put out such a strong presence.
Listen,
that orcs overestimate one of them.
I am an orc. I bash my head into the enemy with no care in the world, and that guy matches my energy.
Yeah. It's intense, but that's their job, and that's why I think they're so beloved. At least that's why I personally love them, because despite this like sheer level of intensity coming from a group that none of them are slouches, not even one is a slouch, at the end you still get to hear their thoughts, and they still feel really human at times, and it's really fun to see. And I gotta turn it over to you. What do you think of the Commissars?
I think I've always kind of liked the Commissars because they are drowning.
They're drowning.
Yeah.
They're drowning.
Yeah. If I were to cosplay anything from 40K, it'd probably be a Commissar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'd make a couple adjustments, but I don't know.
I've seen because there's like a very there's Soviet,
I've seen Commissars and Ushankas.
Yeah, no, there's Soviet themed regiments, you know, because
Yeah,
there's like a regiment after everything, like the Death Corps,
The
Destroyer Firstborn.
No, I was about to say,
Or is it?
the Legion, or not the Legion, excuse me, the Regiment of Guardsmen that like specifically like full sends into like a lot of tanks and like big machinery.
Oh, the Mordian Iron Guard.
Specialize them. Yes.
Oh, the Armageddon Steel Legion.
Yeah.
There we
who
go.
like full send against the orcs.
Oh, there's so much 40K floating around here.
Yeah.
Go on.
They seem a little bit Soviet coded. Like I feel like I'd see them in Afghanistan in the 80s.
Are you gonna look at the Vostroyan? Well, you know what? Honestly, the Firstborn are getting more like World War 1 and 2. So like, I think you're right though. I can definitely see it. And so yeah, Commissars do actually kind of.
To be fair, the Soviet Union was around for long enough for that you would have different flavors of Soviet Union depending on the.
And honestly, like they Commissars kind of crib from a lot of that era leadership. Like, yes, their uniforms look very German at the time period, but like some of the medals they wear and the heraldry they have and their name is aggressively Soviet. Like, oh, what is this? Is it Field Marshal Zhukov?
Yeah,
who had so many medals.
Now this is from a movie portraying him, but the like video, the scene of him just like. And all of the medals in slow motion, like straightening on his shirt.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend like we didn't really do that because Eisenhower had so many, but he didn't wear them all.
No.
Like, also, I've always preferred the U.S.'s like approach to it. I think, that's the wrong side. I think where it's like
I think at a point you just have to put them on both sides.
There's a whole uniform code of conduct. Yeah. So no, you do not
I know
have
on over the breast is usually like your rank or like banners of service, and then the right is medals.
I know. Yes, but I remember Eisenhower. If he wore his full ones, I think would have also looked fairly absurd. Yeah. But we have people who are actively serving right now, or are veterans too, and they can attest to that. But
I mean, let us know. Like,
you can see like little bits of it cribbed from like everywhere.
Send us pictures and let us power scale your ranks.
And just like that, you filled the email. Thank you very much. You've made my job a lot harder for the next week.
Also, please send me your fitness routine because I'm like really trying to like.
The military puts that out for free.
Does it?
Yes. Because they want you ready to serve. No,
I've only found the guides because I remember there was somebody who's actually like a local who sent us. He was the guy who sent us the Ranger handbook.
I'm telling you right now, if you go to your local recruitment office, they will give you a workout routine.
I was only able to find the qualifying workout routine for what this dude did.
Oh, and it was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yes.
So I would
some absolute specimens who watch us.
I would love to see. I would love to see the full routine. I probably couldn't match it yet. And I would love to like. I don't know. See your build. Like, what kind of monster of a man does this routine create?
Honestly, a big part of those kinds of routines is they're not going to leave looking like Hollywood heroes. Will they be buff? Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, don't fight them.
No.
Don't fight them. Don't attempt to outrun them. Don't attempt to outlast them. Don't attempt to outswim them. Don't attempt to jump off of a high object and they're chasing you. Like, generally, this is like one of the most lethal humans you can make.
Yeah, the US it's very good at like making extremely deadly human beings.
And so I like like visual appeal wise, they're not going to look like they're ready for the MCU.
I
don't wrong.
I don't mean like MCU jacked.
Yeah.
I mean huge. Because I have seen some like specimens who are like 3 me's.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
What is your routine?
A lot of heavyweight.
Yeah.
Just a lot of heavyweight. But that does bring an end to this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, thank you for being here.